MVP winning, multi-time playoff going, all these yards and accolades. But until you get Super Bowl MVP, it just moves your name to a completely different level.
We're back. TSL Locker Room. Super Bowl 59 is in the books, and the Kansas City Chiefs were denied that historic three-peat, but we're not talking about just the game. We're breaking down the impact, the legacy talk, as well as what comes next for some of the biggest names in the game. But I'm not by myself. I got my dog, former NFL defensive end, Stephen Weatherly, Vanderbilt in the building. What's up, homie?
What's up? What's up? Glad to be here. Glad
Yeah,
that the
man.
Eagles
Thank
won.
you.
Fly Eagles
Thank you.
fly.
Thank you, brother. We know that former Vanderbilt players Oren Burks and Kari Blasingame played key roles in helping the Eagles prevent the Chiefs from securing that three-peat with that 40-22 Super Bowl win. As someone who has also come through Vanderbilt, how does it feel to see your fellow commanders making major impact on that next level there?
I love it. I love it. When I hit them up, I told them both separately that like the hardware matches the work ethic. You've always had the grind. You've always had the mentality. You've always been winners and champions. Adversity is not foreign to you. Going to the whipping boy, the SEC, to the Pantheon, the highest place you can go in football. I love him. I had the chance to play with Kari in Minnesota when he first came in, playing fullback, and so and I played against Oren because he was drafted to Green Bay when I was in Minnesota. And so we held each other up on special teams a lot. So to see them continue their journey and it end with us, and it has led to a Super Bowl. Hopefully, they got more to come. So happy for those dudes. So happy for them.
What do you think about Vanderbilt's ability, man, to take guys to the next level, man, in this game?
It's slept on because most people just looked at who's making the biggest size, the biggest or the fastest dudes. We're making well-rounded people, and I'll tell you this straight up: unless you've been in a locker room for those dog days in the back end, you need solid team guys to keep the team together, or else you will lose a team. And if you lose a team, you lose games. And if you lose games, people lose jobs. And so, when you talk about adversity, things aren't necessarily going your way. It's not going the way you planned it to, game planned it. That's Vanderbilt all day, every day.
Yeah.
And so we are, in my opinion, mentally stronger, have more fortitude than the average cat who's a front runner.
Yeah.
Bama.
All right, listen, we're gonna put that Vanderbilt education to work now, Stephen, man. Is talking about being mentally stronger. What surprised you the most about Super Bowl 59? Everybody thought it was gonna be a battle, but it was certainly less than. How do you break it down, Doc?
I knew that was exactly, I had a feeling that was exactly going to happen given how their games have gone all year. They weren't that dominating fashion, winning by at least 2.5 scores throughout the season, at least 4 big shots a game. Those, oh my God, plays were still there. How did Patrick get out of that? But I mean, the moment they did the intros for the quarterbacks and Patrick's eyes looked a little bit tired, I was like, oh no. And then from there, it was just a bad business in regards to creating for the offense. Travis didn't look as explosive,
Yeah.
didn't look as shaky, as wiggly as he used to. All the memes came out about that. And it seemed like the only person really fighting on that side was your first round pick, Xavier Worthy, who was willing to take the top off at any moment. And you're going to need more than that because he did his thing, but you had to compete against Jalen Hurts, Saquon, who they were able to put a muzzle on for a half a second in there. Oh, and those 2 grade A wide receivers that they felt. It was a tough task. They couldn't stand up to it.
It was definitely a tough task, man. Kelsey definitely didn't look like his normal self. It didn't look like he could get involved in the game, unfortunately, man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Patrick Mahomes has been the target of a lot of criticism since this blowout loss. Social media is going in on him. That the game has destroyed his legacy. He'll never be considered the GOAT now. What do you think about that criticism, man? Do you agree? Is that
Nah,
fair?
this season was one of the ones where if it was going to happen, this was going to be the most. I wouldn't even say easiest. It's the most non-conventional way. You weren't winning in dominant fashion the whole year. It was kind of just it was there, and you had to take it, kind of thing. Which is always what coaches say, but this one in particular was a little bit more unique in the sense that things were lining, quite literally lining up for you to have a three-peat. You just needed to give that extra oomph to seize it. Um, at anything, I wouldn't take it out on Patrick Mahomes. It's been happening all season,
Yeah.
right? Like, at what point did you see them dominantly win a game when they were like the last undefeated team, I believe, for the season? It was a bunch of block field goal, a missed field goal, and a bunch of one score games coming down to the end of the game. So people wanted to be like that, but then when they faced competition that was extraordinary at the biggest stage, they that doesn't work. They weren't close enough to let Patrick do that fourth quarter super scramble all around for a big first down, which would deflate you and then they hit you over the top with a quick play action pass. They couldn't get that.
Yeah. Does Andy Reid leave or stay, or does Travis Kelsey leave or stay? What are you thinking?
When you have someone with the arm talent of Patrick Mahomes, you're talking about a simple rebuild. Does Andy Reid have that in his arsenal? You would need to go back and look at a whole bunch of factors that GMs get looked at and get paid big bucks to do. From my novice position looking in, I want to say they have enough pieces to turn around and shoot for it again if they can trade well, free agent well, and draft well. You still have Patrick Mahomes' arm. So you can have a weaker O line if you have enough pieces to make up for it. If you have a solid running back to lean on, you know what I'm saying? Like all those things. How are you going to redesign this team to take advantage of what is there now, what you plan to have there, and then rebuild? If you're not afraid of that challenge, Andy Reid should stay for at least 2 more years. Patrick's contract is still prime. You still have a quarterback. So yeah, stick around.
Yeah, hell of a contract. With the draft coming up, right? A lot of eyes on Travis Hunter. He's considered the best player by many in the draft, but playing both ways in the league is certainly a tough task. What challenges do you see him facing as a rookie trying to make this work?
I think honestly, his biggest challenge, he knows football. And I actually just talked about this recently at the Super Bowl. But when you find your secret sauce as a player, you need to lean into it. You need to believe it, and you need to hold on to it and let no one throw you off your game. So be that amazing athlete, be that two-way star. The only downside is he's going to have to prove it to not himself because he knows it, but to the other players and to the coaches. And that requires time. That requires you to go out there and do those reps. Those reps are daunting because before you were doing it against college guys, and that no knock to any of the other college guys on the team because they will be pros eventually, either next year or in the future. But now it's nothing but high caliber athletes. And you can still be one of the best out there, but those hits do add up. So I think Travis's biggest problem, as I can see right now, is can he prove to his teammates and coaches that he is worthy of playing both ways and then getting the required rest afterwards before his body gives out.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
it's a lot of mileage, like you said, man. Um, In other news, man, it looked like Bourbon Street was alive and well. Patrick Mahomes' father was out there. Former MLB pitcher John Rocker was out there. They looked like they got into a bit of a altercation. But word has it that Barstool Dave Portnoy is setting up a rough and rowdy fight. So some people are saying that it may have been staged, but do you think this is a good look for Patrick Mahomes' father? What does he gain from this? It looked like, listen, I don't know, man. That looked like it could be dangerous. It didn't look like it was
Oh,
good for his health.
I don't, I don't, man, I just feel like when you taking when you taking certain people's money, you just gotta do certain stuff. I'm not saying be docile and convert and all that stuff, but like your son's getting $500 million from the NFL. Just be chill and go start a business somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like go build a platform or something like that. To have a notable like character and to have like a persona in the media, cool. But it's also a brand, right? Like you're trying to build something. You're trying to at least think of it as I'm an example for the next generation of how they could handle themselves, no matter what they look like. If you are in the vicinity of someone who is one of the world's best, for this, it's football and my son. Let me show you how to walk the walk, talk the talk. And if I'm going to be associated with someone else's brand, let me show you how to uphold it and actually add value to it. Don't let me be the example of how to take away from someone else's light or shine or moment, right? So at the end of the day, I'm like, why is that not happening for a father for their
Yeah,
own son,
yeah,
right? So unless this is a bigger play for like no publicity, bad publicity, there's no such thing as bad publicity. All publicity is good publicity. Then like,
yeah.
cool. But like, come on, dog.
It seemed like his brother's been quiet this season. Normally his brother's always in the news getting arrested or something like that.
I didn't like him on the sideline when he got too close, and I told him I'll put hands on him if he stepped on the field again because I was crazy like that. We were at Green Bay when I was playing, and Giannis was a Green Bay. When you play at Green Bay early in the season when it's warm, all the celebrities come out.
Okay.
So he was out there playing Green Bay early one year, and Giannis was on the sideline. And when you at Green Bay, the opposite tunnel is like through the middle of the goalpost, and his like 7-Eleven self was up there clapping like, yeah, we're gonna beat you. Our starting defensive end looked at him and said, "Who are you talking to?" He said, "I'm talking to both of y'all." We both looked at him and said, "We both beat y'all." And so that like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like celebrities being on the side. I'm sorry, Giannis is a celebrity. Patrick Mahomes' brother is not. So like they'll always be in the mix, but they always know where like he was behind the ropes. Okay. Patrick Mahomes' brother be on the other side of the rope, walking around on the field during warm up. So to hear that he also has a problem respecting authority figures elsewhere for all these other reasons sounds like it's on brand.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's jump into it, Steven. Fair or foul, man. Jalen Hurts winning Super Bowl MVP puts him ahead of Lamar Jackson in the quarterback rankings. Is that fair or foul in your opinion?
Yeah. It's tough, but like that's the power. And I think we talked about this last time. That's the power of the Super Bowl MVP. Multi-time MVP winning, multi-time playoff going, all these yards and accolades. But until you get Super Bowl MVP, it just moves your name to a completely different list. And so technically, yes, I think he has.
No doubt. Fair or foul number 2, man. Should the Giants have prioritized re-signing Saquon Barkley over going with Daniel Jones?
Foul. They weren't going to do nothing good with it. You know what I'm saying? They were going to squander that opportunity. And I think it is mature of the Giants to let a generational running back go on to have success in its rights. And yeah, it was fair for them to do it. I think it was stupid, but it was the right move from like a person to person. You don't really see that a lot in football.
Yeah. Sometimes you need a fresh start, man. So
1,000%.
Right. That does it. Steven, man, always a pleasure talking to you, brother.